on this episode of Edge of the Web.
You've got this great tool in your pocket. You know, you can do anything you want to, from doing your presentations to emails to whatever, and you can go out and make a feature film with it.
Your weekly digital marketing trends with industry trend-setting guests. You're listening and watching Edge of the Web. Winners of Best Podcast from the Content Marketing Institute for 2017. Hear and see more at edgeofthewebradio.com. Now, alongside Tom Broadbeck, here's your host, Aaron Sparks.
So welcome to the show. Hey, we're broadcasting from Edge Media Studios in downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. And every week we're bringing you the cutting edge information. See how I did that? Isn't that a beautiful thing? I just kind of worked that all the way through. Brand. That's what we're talking about, right? We're always talking about digital marketing tactics and connecting with marketing influencers on a regular basis. You can check out all the recent shows at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. We're powered by our title sponsor, also happens to be our masthead company. It's Site Strategics, your digital marketing pioneer specializing in the agile digital marketing techniques and strategy. If you're interested in what agile means, it is literally results-based, responsive marketing, and you can check out everything over at sitestrategics.com, site, S-I-T-E, strategics.com. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks. I'm the CEO of Site Strategics, the therefore mentioned organization, as well as Edge Media Studios. And we do this show for one reason and one reason only. Well, two reasons. I'll be as transparent as I can. Obviously, this is a marketing execution for us. We are wanting to get the word out and talk to influencers. Three reasons. Three reasons why we do this. Second reason is literally education for our clients, prospects, but also just getting the word out, demystifying the entire concept of digital marketing tactics, because there's always things that are misunderstood or misrepresented in the knowledge space of digital marketing. And third reason is to keep our powder dry, to be able to keep our techniques sharp and understood. So that's why we do this show each and every week, to make sure that we know what's trending, what's happening, what's valuable for our own clients here at Site Strategics. So I probably have a few more reasons as well, but I'm going to stop there. Let me introduce to you who's in the audience, or who's in the studio today, not in the audience. We have Tom Broadbeck, digital marketing, digital media director of Edge Media Studios. I don't know, man.
That's all right. I've been here 5.5 years.
I don't. Digital media director. It's not even a phonetic problem. It's just I just trip over.
That's right. I've had plenty of titles over the year. Years.
Over the year? So you forget how long you've been here. We also have AJ Ablog, founder and visual director over at Ablog Cinema. How you doing, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show. I guess I should be talking into the mic.
Yeah. Speaking
rookie.
Oh, my gosh. Rookie. And I'd love to introduce our guest, David Basulto, CEO and inventor of iOgrapher. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great, but I thought we were talking about Game of Thrones. A different show.
Yeah,
so
different
sorry,
show. Dude, did you see the last episode?
Oh,
that was awesome.
I'm so depressed that we're coming up on the last one. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, it is pretty sad.
I haven't watched a single episode.
Well, I do want to.
We won't talk to you.
We'll shun you from the show.
Go to the cornfield now.
Yeah. Wow.
Ooh, okay. This guy's got as many analogies as I do. Yeah. This is going to be fun.
Thanks for having me on, you guys. I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. Hey, as we're talking right now, we want to reach out to our Facebook Live audience and make sure that everybody is promoting and sharing the stream, because part of Edge of the Web, and edge casting as we call it, is that unique connection to all the social media followers during the show. Now, our podcast audio listeners can't participate unless they get into the live broadcast, but it's all here ready for you, and we're actually going to be watching the stream and watching the interaction on the comments here as we go through the show, and we can certainly lift up some of the comments that you have regarding the show's theme and what we're talking about. So share and share off, and that's how you can show the love for the show. And hey, it's fantastic to be able to see that type of connection. If you're on the audios, right? That's a fantastic platform, go check us out in all the different areas. We are on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Podbean, maybe not. I think I just
Change that script.
Spreaker and Acast. But if we're not where you would like to hear us, which is kind of odd me asking if you're actually listening someplace else, or if you are not on those if you are on those platforms, you wouldn't be hearing us anyway, right?
That's right.
So maybe a friend, tell a friend that you'd love to hear Edge of the Web on the platform near you, and we'll certainly get the show there. That was a weird commentary right there.
I don't know what to say.
I'm
used to it. Go to the cornfield. Right?
Do you know where that comes from?
Nope.
Oh my gosh, are you
Assuming
serious?
Game of Thrones.
Children of the corn.
Children of the corn.
Oh, right. Awesome.
That's
There's a
two.
filmmaker right there.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That was an awesome show too.
Yeah.
All right, hey, well, talking about awesomeness, this segment is actually brought to you by SEMrush, the world's leading competitive intelligence and keyword research tool, trusted by over 1 million online marketers every day to give them an edge on their competition. You see? There's an alliteration there.
Yeah.
If you want to see exactly where your competitors are advertising online, organically, as well as in their ad space, then head on over to semrush.com/edge of the web, all one word, to get your 14-day free trial subscription. So check it out. It's a great tool. Fantastic. We use it often here, on a daily basis at Site Strategics. And it is one of those top-line tools that if you're in digital marketing, and anybody who's been in digital marketing for maybe over a year absolutely knows that SEMrush is a fantastic advantage that they can use, right?
Absolutely. We love the tool and use it all the time, and you can do some great compares with your domain and your competitors, and do some cool keyword research, great video ideas for topics and everything. So it's definitely a great tool for that marketer out there.
That's right. All right. Hey, before anything else, let's take you through some of the latest digital marketing news.
I was very excited to start my reportings.
This week's trending topics.
All right. Hey, from Search Engine Land, always a friend of the show. Barry Schwartz. Here's an interesting story. Google emails warnings to webmasters that Chrome will mark HTTP pages, not the HTTPS, the HTTP pages with forms as not secure. This was a big story. We're actually informing all of our clients at Site Strategics about this very, very quickly. Tom, tell us all about this.
So essentially what's going to happen, and Jim, if you can scroll down here, if your website is not secure, if your website is not HTTPS, keep scrolling down, there's a little GIF that happens. And so here's kind of an example right there at the bottom. So if you have a form on your website, whether it just be a simple email sign-up form or on your Contact Us page, if you have an email sign-up form on your footer, which a lot of websites do, if you have that form on your footer and you're not secure, a little warning is going to appear up in the URL. Is that the address bar? Is that what you call it? The URL bar there. They'll say this website is not secure on any form that you have on your website.
Any form. The email subscription footer form on a page, it will literally throw every page into an insecure setting, right?
Yes. So Google's been pushing HTTPS for a long time now. I think the latest report I saw a few months ago is that 50% of the websites that Google has indexed as HTTPS are secure. So starting in October, that warning is going to start appearing on your website if you don't have an HTTPS on your website. So need to get that done.
This is like the most heavy-handed. We all had the Mobilegeddon scare, right? But this thing is absolutely going to cause potential customers to not go to your website. It's going to lock it down. I mean, this is way strong of a tactic from Google.
Yeah.
And the conversion loss is going to be huge.
Yeah, and I think the reason why is because there's been a lot of people are hesitant to because they lose a lot of rankings. There's the case studies out there where people lose tons of rankings when they switch from HTTP to HTTPS.
Well, they just don't do it right. That's why.
Sure, but I mean, Google is designing self-driving cars, but they can't figure out how to if somebody were to just switch their website to HTTPS to keep all their rankings to that same website.
Yeah.
They're building cars that don't need people to drive them, but they can't figure out how this website, whatever.com/home/about is the same as HTTPS /about. I mean, they can do that, but one letter in URL just throws them off. Apparently, I think if Google were just really figure that part out, they'd have a bunch of people adopting rather than trying to force this on people. But.
Yeah, but again, Google's so big, or the alphabet side of things is so big that one hand doesn't know what. So you got a lot of crazy scientists that are developing super smart cars, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's hand is off the wheel on this thing.
Yeah. But yeah, so
no offense, Google.
So
we
get
love you.
HTTPS. iOgrapher, you're good.
Better be careful with what you say.
Your
Exactly.
HTTPS.
They hear everything.
Site Strategics, we're good. We have HTTPS. Edge to Web Radio we need to talk about.
What?
We haven't done that yet. But so we need to get it done by October.
Clock's running, guys, especially on us, evidently. Okay, hey, from Marketing Land, from Tim Peterson, Facebook will penalize, talking about videos today, they'll penalize fake videos in latest news feed algorithm updates that they have. So this is obviously quite apropos to this theme today. Facebook will actually target photo posts that with fake click-to-play buttons and videos that are simply static images. And we all know that. We've seen it, that big old honkin' play button, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a click. I don't get a video. I'm it's a bait and switch kind of thing.
Sure.
Well, however you feel about videos that play automatically, which, I mean, I'm sure there's some interesting thoughts about the matter here. Clicking on what appears to be a video only to find out that it's actually hyperlinked, a hyperlinked image that opens a site that you don't want to visit is actually way worse. So what they're trying to do is actually changing the algorithm, and they're going to start penalizing those photo posts that mimic the video thumbnails and the play buttons and all, as well as the video posts that solely feature a static image. The company announced this past Thursday. Fantastic. Oh, is it today?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's
that was last week.
Last week. Yes, yes.
I think that's a fantastic idea because it's just a factor of spam. It's just a factor of manipulation, and you want good quality content coming through Facebook, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I see it all the time with TV news stations. I think they're a big culprit, and a lot of people do it just to get that interaction. And so they'll make an image of video, and they'll do like the frown face for no, or for some Donald Trump thing, frown face for no, and smiley like for a thumbs up for a like, and just to get all that interaction going into their page to boost up their other posts. So thankfully, they're going to kind of discredit that.
I get it. Hey, David, what do you think about this?
Well, I totally agree with you. I think YouTube's been plagued for years with people boosting up, buying fake likes and views, and it's just, I love that people are policing this now to get true value out of it and to really clean up the junk. I think the noise will fade away and the good stuff will come to the top, the cream.
You kind of see that now on YouTube because YouTube has kind of been policing that a little bit. Early they've started to. It's still a little muddy with what they're doing, but you see less and less of those like Vine compilation videos, and you're starting to see more quality content that's rising up to the surface on like a trending page or whatever. So I mean, it's gonna do nothing but good, I think.
All right, so I'm going around the horn on another topic of videos here today from Search Engine Roundtable from Barry Schwartz. Google may now actually show video previews in its search carousel. Tom, what's going on there?
So,
and why do we have two articles for Barry?
Well, they're video based. So we're talking about video today. So I want articles based on video, and Barry's happened to be writing about video this week.
Just razzing you.
So it looks like it's only going to be for mobile devices. So when you're in a Google search there, and Jim, scroll down just a little bit, there's a GIF in action of how it will look. Right there. I don't know why it's not going, but essentially what will happen is Google YouTube's going to pick 7-ish seconds of that video to play, to autoplay. Hovering behind that play video, there you can see in the carousel, and so you can scroll through them, and the video will play for 7 seconds. Just go, no audio or anything, but so they're going to start showing some thumbnails. So if you're a how-to video on how to fix garbage disposal, which happened recently to me, so it could show you, maybe help you with relevancy for what you're searching for,
right?
Rather than having to sit through scrolling through a video, and you can kind of get a little snippet of what it'll look like before clicking on it.
that also gets rid of some of the junk, because there are some videos who have, clickbait kind of videos where you can kind of scroll through and see that, hey, look, this is not just, this is actually a guy talking about fixing your garbage disposal instead of talking about, which garbage disposal model or, whatever. Like they're doing that on YouTube already, and it's a feature that I absolutely love. Like, I can pick and choose what content I want based off of that 7 seconds.
That's very cool. I'm wondering how AMP works into this, because we have seen the carousel adjusted based on AMP content that's actually coming through. So I'm wondering how AMP is actually going to support some of the video positioning. David, obviously this is
Great news.
It is great news because it's showcasing everything.
I mean, people are visual. We're visual monsters, and especially the younger generation. And being when I was a teacher, I saw these kids didn't care if this video was a 4K video or whatever. They wanted to be entertained, and so they were pulling out Vine and Instagram and Snapchat, and they just want to be told great stories. And so I think everyone's just like a visual kind of learner now. My son is 9. He watches tutorials on how to do stuff in Minecraft, then he goes to Minecraft and creates this stuff, It's just a whole, they're not going to sit there and read 20 pages anymore, Times are changing.
Yeah, my son keeps on mentioning, as soon as I talk about the emojis, my 17-year-old, he says, you know what, we're actually going back to caveman pictorials now. I mean, we are receding from context. And we're trying to digest so much. So literally, the imagery realm has just exploded from the socials, and this is search matching this as much as possible. Video, the carousel got included there about 3 years ago, and on top of that, it's just going to be paramount. You're going to see more and more video pushing contextual and content down further and further on the screen.
I mean, think about the dark ages where you had to go to the library to find a book on how to fix your, how to fix your kitchen sink, like you said. That was what you had to do. And you guys are much younger than me, but I had to go do that stuff. So those were horrible
thank you,
times.
David. I appreciate that.
I remember
those were dark, horrible days. Now it's like I pull this up and I got the world's at my fingertips.
I used to have to do a couple reports and I had to go to the library and use the encyclopedia. I remember those days.
I think I had to do that once.
The Dewey Decimal System.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Dropping Dewey Decimal.
Dewey who? Wasn't he from Disney?
Yeah, he's one of the ducks. Yeah. They just do that still. Just if all the lights go out, you'll be able to actually go through the Rolodex and be able to find something to turn it back on. You know. Wow, that's a sad testimony. But what's not sad is actually signing up to our newsletter, free of charge. If you actually text to the number 22828 with your smartphone, the word Edge Talk. That's the number 22828, the word Edge Talk, and you can actually sign up right there for a free newsletter. Actually, it's news now, not newsletter. How about that? Actually, it's a newsletter that comes out every week showing you who we talked to, who we interviewed on the show, as well as what we discussed, the news articles, and the links to everything that we've covered in the show. And on top of that, who's coming up next show, so you can be prepared with your questions. And if you got any questions, as you're watching the stream, jump in there and talk to us, because it's going to be awesome. I want to set up this real quick. Is that we decided right before going live on the show that we were actually going to do a giveaway today on the show live, and here's the deal. For the viewers they're on the show right now, we are actually going to give away some gear that David has. And David, he's got an entire set of gear for being your own iPhone and iPad. Oh, look at that. There it is right there.
Oh, my goodness.
There's an entire piece of gear right there for being your own videographer. That is too cool.
Wow.
Better selfie this way,
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
No, the producer's not allowed to do that.
This is the iOgrapher for iPhone 6 Plus, but we make them for all the iPhones. Add lenses, lights, microphones, put it on tripods.
That is too
and
cool.
you're good to go.
The whole lenses
stable
thing.
video.
whole
Yeah.
lenses thing blows my mind. You got the screw-on lenses. I was looking on your website and you had some anamorphic lenses, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Right here, baby.
I'm gonna have to change my whole
This is the
business
same
model.
lens that they made the film Tangerine that won all these awards at Sundance.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Got a distribution deal. Same little lens right here.
Oh, that's
all
incredible.
we need is your vision right there.
Beautiful.
Oh,
So
man.
we are challenging our audience to jump in there and give us some comments and ask some questions, because the best questions are going to be best questioners are going to be receiving some gear that we'll choose after the show. So everybody start sharing to your friends, because this stuff is real. It's going to happen right now.
Yep.
So all things being considered, let's deep dive with this week's featured guest.
Now it's time for our Edge of the Web featured interview with David Basulto, CEO and inventor of iOgrapher.
So here's some quick information about David. David Basulto is the media arts and animation instructor over at the award-winning San Marino High School in Southern California, and he brings years of experience in production and post-production to his classroom after producing feature films for Icon Entertainment, fantastic brand, and Lifetime Television. After seeing the shift to digital, and he dove headfirst into learning as many tools as possible and fell in love with the iPad. Fantastic. And developed the company iOgrapher in 2013. So, David, give us your history of how you got here.
Let's go.
Drop the mic. Okay.
So one quick correction. I am no longer the teacher there anymore. I retired from that.
Okay.
It was just completely overwhelming me. At the final year of was a year ago. I would go out there and tell the kids, okay, guys, this week we're going to film a short film. Here's the syllabus. I'm going to be in the back room doing something else. And I'd go back there and as iOgrapher, we were blowing up from, west to east coast, from schools from USC to Harvard. And then it started going overseas, and now we're in 18 countries, and
Wow.
we have patents all over the world. And it all came down to the point that I wanted my students to be able to film better videos in our class. And we didn't have very many cameras, DSLRs and whatnot. So I wanted them to be able to use the devices they had in their pockets. And they were just so intuitive with them, rather than me teaching them, this is how a DSLR, a $6,000 DSLR or a red camera, this is how they work, which they're going to forget later on. They're not going to remember all these apertures and this and that. But they get these little things because they're shooting video in their every day. They're shooting their friends. They're documenting their lives. So I wanted to enhance this, though, because the audio is pretty, and I wanted to put lenses on it. And so I just made this little thing in my classroom using a 3D printer. One of the students told me, hey, let's do a Kickstarter. We did that. The next thing I know is I'm getting calls from Forbes magazine and the New York Times, and the teacher wants to reinvent, a digital video. Little did they know, I just wanted to get rich. So this thing just took off, and like I said, I woke up one morning last year. Steven Speilberg was holding one in a photo with Tom Hanks. The Boston Celtics use it. The Miami Dolphins, the BBC, CNN, schools across the country. And it's just been a crazy ride for this old 50-year-old guy here. So
Very cool. Well, it's that origin story right there.
Yeah, that's incredible.
If you're seeing it come at you, right? And if you can, David, there's so many instructors inside of classrooms around the country, both collegiate and high school, that see things pass by. Yeah. And there's such a want to be able to jump. I remember going to one of the schools here recently, and this guy was teaching some new media stuff, and he was, you could, unfortunately, you could really see the pain, because he wants to be in the fast track. There's so many things that happen that are constantly moving inside video, and he was removed, and he recognized that he was removed. He was 7 or 8 years behind, and that's painful to be able to witness.
I used to. In fact, I do a thing called iOgrapher Cares, and it's unfortunate, but it's usually to schools around where I live, because I'm too lazy to fly across the country. But I'll go and I'll find schools that have like what is that? Donors Choose or something like that, and they'll say, we're really trying to save up for this iOgrapher. We're trying to start a program. The big thing about these tools is that, with an iPhone or iPad, or let's just say iPad in the classroom, let's say you go buy a iPad Mini 2 refurbished on Apple, that's going to cost you $220, right?
Right.
With that tool now, you can get these kids to shoot videos, shoot stills. So you got photography class. You can do stop motion animation stuff. They can learn how to edit. You can stream the plays. You can stream the football games. So, I mean, they've just opened up a whole other level for people in schools that don't really have the money to have a full-fledged program for that. So, so we do a program where I'll just go surprise a teacher that I see that has this type of this want on these donors websites, and I'll bring just a handful of gear, including the iPad. I'm like, go make some magic. The next Steven Spielberg could be in this room, and I want to see what he can do. So it's a lot of fun. I love it. I'm very passionate. That's the thing about it. You talk about how this all happened. I mean, I just had this passion for this. I live and breathe it. And I think that's what you need to do if you're going to get into the entrepreneur world. Otherwise, it's a tough place.
No, you're absolutely right. So, mobile video. Let's just unpack that for a second, because I mean, it's almost like that's the front line. There's so much writing on mobile video from a consumer standpoint. What I mean by that is consumption and conversion and getting engagement at that. I mean, we were just talking about Facebook, right? And the play button. Literally, there's an image there with a static play button because consumers are trained to be able to interact and to be able to click on that, right? So you have this impulse connection in video. It's not narrative. It's not storytelling. It's not where you can actually move them through a particular series of cadences or a rhythm of presentation. You've got to hook them right then and there, right? So give me your thoughts, both of you, AJ and David, on how mobile video is taking hold, and what are some best points to really bring in consumers.
I mean, one of the things that I like to practice and preach is that the best part about this world we're in right now is that anyone can go live at any moment from their devices. So we can bring in people to experience what we're experiencing, but that is also the bad part of it, because people come live and don't have anything to engage me with. I don't care that you're out, walking around with your dog and it's really boring. Tell me a story. What is this? I'm out walking my dog. This is the neighborhood. This is what's going on in the neighborhood. That's the great pizzeria right there. And you should check it out. Blah blah blah. But businesses should embrace this technology to talk about their business. This is how we make this great pizza. I must be really hungry right now. This is how, this is the history of the pizzeria, etc. It's so easy to do these types of videos with these tools now, and get them up and have content up there, so that, I mean, it might be the difference between someone visiting that restaurant and not visiting that, or learning about your, grass cutting service or your home building or whatever, One of our big clients is Boeing. They use it for teaching our devices and iPads. They use it for teaching mechanics how to do certain jobs, and they have this whole library of stuff, and they just find it's really simple. That they get it. Click the button. I'm filming. I've got good audio.
Yep.
Boom. So I really think it's about having a purpose to make these videos and to go live, like you're saying. But mobile video is just exploding.
No, it absolutely is. AJ, what are your thoughts there?
To be completely honest, so, I mean, first of all, there's multiple sides to just like to be able to go live and to have video at your fingertips. I mean, not only from a professional standpoint, from, when I go on set and when I deal with the client, a lot of the times people don't realize how much work goes into it. Like, I got to make sure that, you sound good, or, like, I got to find your story. A lot of people just think I just sit down with a camera and just shoot, and magically it all works. But the thing that I love about what you're doing is the fact that I can give someone, they can take their phone, but you give them the rig, right? And you say, hey, look, just because you have this now, first of all, it takes away from people shooting vertically, which is my which is my biggest thing.
That's my mortal sin when I was teaching in class. You got to instant F if you shot
vertical video, and it drives me
Have
insane.
you seen the vertical video syndrome?
Yeah.
The video. I mean, we have to tie it in here. We'll put it in post show. We'll throw it in the note. Vertical video syndrome. It literally, it must be the bane of your existence.
Yes, absolutely. I hate it more than anything.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, besides that, and it teaches people not only to shoot horizontally like normal video, but it shows them, holy cow, like I'm shooting outside and there's a bunch of wind. I need a microphone that's going to be able to deal with that so I can get good audio, because I don't care what kind of camera you're using. You could be shooting 8mm, you could be shooting on a Red, you could be using your phone.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't hear you, there's no sound, I'm never going to be able to understand it.
And
it's
all about the audio.
Right. And it teaches people, and it teaches moms, dads, kids, everyone how to do it. You're empowering so many people with the knowledge of what we do, and kind of takes some of the, how do I phrase this lightly? But the kind of like the palm to the face.
It dumbs it down.
Yeah, it dumbs it down enough so people kind of understand our craft. And from my point, besides the whole teaching fact, but I think it's amazing, and I'm blown away. But I'm very thankful.
It's just like you said, it dumbs it down. I've been showing people lately schools are our bread and butter. Just how to do multicam stuff. When I was teaching high school, towards the end, we were filming the football games with two iPads up on top using an app called Switcher Studio.
Yeah.
I would have two iPads up on top, one with a wide shot, one with a 2x telephoto, and the one with the telephoto was my switcher. Mm-hmm. And for those that don't know what switchers are, you're able to switch different cameras.
Right.
I was very fortunate to have great Wi-Fi there, so I was able to connect the Switcher Studio app to this other iPad on their app, to two more iPads down below, and they were running the sideline, splitting 50-50. We were doing all that, doing multicam with graphics, and going out to a website called The Cube, which was High School Cube. It's a high school kind of streaming website. Of course, now it would go out to Facebook or YouTube. But it was like ESPN on a budget. It was amazing.
Well, that's the whole thing. And by the way, we want to make sure that our listeners and our watchers are aware that we're giving away some gear as we have comments coming through. And Tim Flanagan actually just referenced you, Dave. It looks like Dave fell off the edge. So we're gonna post pin that comment right there, because that's awesome. But ask questions. Look at the gear that we've got here. Ask questions of Dave as we're talking.
Yeah, and for our podcast listeners, you can still get in on this as well.
Yep.
So if you ask us a question through the contact form on our website, just go edgeofthewebradio.com/contact and submit a question there, and you can be entered in it as well, and we'll announce them on the next show.
Yeah, well, we love our podcast listeners, and we certainly don't want to ignore them. Hey, so as we're talking about the threshold of video, I mean, the equipment has been reduced so much. We now have an entry point where there's so much ability for anybody to jump in there and really start creating their craft, like you said, AJ.
Yep.
I mean, the quality of cameras are up there still, and Red's beautiful, right? We would love some, but I mean, got any Red over there that you want to?
Yeah, if you want to send my way.
I actually have a Scarlett camera sitting in my closet because I don't use it anymore. It's
we can talk. We can talk. I'll send you an email later.
That's a 3K camera, and I got 4K on this phone. So,
and that's kind of also the beauty of it, is where technology is growing. I watched the video the other day. Of talking about like back in the day, before probably like 10 years ago is when the Red really came out.
Sure.
And before we were really shooting on tape. You know, I'm not tape. I'm sorry. I meant like large format. We're shooting on film, right? And then the revolution with the Red came, and then after that, you had the DSLR revolution, and now we have the smartphone camera revolution. So now we're seeing this gradient or the threshold. All the equipment is going down, and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And you see cameras like, you know, the A7S Mark II or, you know, whatever, where you have this amazing camera, or even the iPhone 7 has an amazing camera. Like, it blows my mind. It's 4K, you know, the 9 yards, and you know, it's everyone has it, you know, and then they shoot vertically.
That's my big thing is like is you've got this great tool in your pocket. You know, you can do anything you want to, from, you know, doing your presentations to emails to whatever, and you can go out and make a feature film with it if you really want.
Oh yeah, and there's plenty of people who have.
So it's like, I just love having that ability to help people become storytellers, because I was playing in the dirt when I was young like them, and with my little soldiers, and I could never document that, which would have been great now. But they can go out and tell. My son does little stop motions with his Legos, and, you know, I mean, it's such a creative outlet. I just love it.
It is. So, you know, as the threshold drops and more and more people can get in there, I'm going to liken this a little bit to how digital marketing has just exploded, and that there are so many people in the digital marketing space, some of which should not be there.
Yes.
And there's a parallel, although, I mean, I was talking to two videographers. I mean, a story is a story is a story, however you tell it, right? But you also have a reduction in quality that can really pull the art form down and diminish the amount of time that it took you to get to where you are in your career path. As things get dumbed down, the respect for how to do things the right way, and the schooling and what it takes to really to understand what a bloody f-stop is. You don't have an f-stop. Well, you kind of do.
Actually, you do with certain apps like Filmic Pro. You can do different stops and stuff. So,
but even the knowledge of that,
what it is,
it is disappearing from the mass. You know, the mass is getting in there, and I mean, what's the data say? I mean, right now there are terabytes of video data and data being uploaded every minute. Around the world.
There's somewhat of like 3 days worth of video content that's uploaded to YouTube, I think, every hour.
Right. I mean, it's ungodly how much, and the quality, you know, I'm not to be biased, but the quality, there's a lot of poor quality out there, and it's kind of debasing the art form of videography, right?
Yeah. That's the one thing that I've kind of struggled with personally, is that, you know, you get people who can go ahead and buy a drone. You know, you get people who are, you know, buying, you know, like cheaper DSLRs and going out and who are competing with me, who I have, you know, an education. I have the student debt to, you know, to show for it. And I went to 4 years, and I took my time to learn on a red, you know, what an f-stop is, how to measure out your
focal length.
Your focal length, thank you. And you know, and there's this part of me where I see, you know, this other 15-year-old kid who made this amazing video,
right? And
I'm like, man, what am I should have just taken that $80,000 and bought a helium.
So I mean, there it is. Oh yeah, that was the vertical.
Yeah, I have this video popped up on
the producer been popping the video.
Got distracted a couple times. I'm like, there's a monkey on the back.
That is vertical video syndrome. You got to check it out. We'll actually throw the link here in the comments on Facebook as well. You have to see this. This is incredible. But I mean, David, the threshold and the potential. Well, it's not even potential. It's happening. The lack of quality is besmirching, I guess, some of the really good quality videographers. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm with you. I totally get, though. If I was going to go make Lord of the Rings 5, I would use 5 Red Epic cameras. If I'm going to go shoot a story down the street and I don't have a big budget, I mean, I'm going to pull out my iPhone 7 Plus and trick it out and make some great stuff. Because, like I said, I mean, with Filmic Pro app, which is a great app people should check out, I can now I can tweak my video that I'm shooting to go up to 100 megabits per second in 4K. And it's going to look like a ProRes. This is getting geeky, but it's a ProRes kind of format when I come in to edit it.
What?
And it looks amazing. It looks amazing. My friend Michelle is a big fitness expert here in Pasadena. She wanted to do a little workout series to sell as a DVD, and she used to do these quite a bit. And she'd spend $20 grand or whatever to get the big cameras to come in. And so I said, let's do this. Let me, I need some experimentation. So let's do this. I brought in 3 iPad Pros, the 9.7-inch iPad Pros, shooting in 4K using Filmic Pro app. Had great audio connected wirelessly to her into a Zoom. Synced it all up in Final Cut Pro later on, and she's like blown away. I mean, it was so easy to do now, and to get these great files. And so it's just getting, I mean, I've seen it go from, when we first, was the iPad mini, first generation was the first one that I really got into shooting video with these devices.
Right.
And to where we are now with the new Pro, the 10.5-inch Pro, and the iPhone 7 Plus. I mean, you can even simulate in Filmic Pro. There's a website called epictutorials.com. And this guy did this great demo of using Filmic Pro to kind of rack focus on some shots. And it really, I mean, I challenge you to look at it and say, wow, that's pretty impressive, for a little iPhone, So you're going to get some great quality, with these videos that you're shooting with these things. And it's just getting better and better every year.
His kung fu is very good.
I know we're running short on time here, David, but I wanted to plug your book here. Tell us about the book that you wrote.
That's right.
Came out last December.
If I don't have enough things to do, I had to go and write this book. So this book, it's called Life Camera Action. What is it called? How to Turn Your Mobile Device into a Filmmaking Powerhouse. And this comes from millions of emails from people and Facebook comments. How do you do this? How do you do a multicam? How do you do, blah, blah, blah. And so where do I go buy the iPad? Which iPad should I buy? Which iPhone should I buy? What are the lenses? What lights? What microphones? So I just put it all down into a big book and just told everyone, these are the things that you want to get into. These are the different devices that are out there. This is the workflows I did as a teacher, from live streaming the football games to teaching filmmaking classes, doing commercials, music videos, blah, blah, blah. So just put this whole book together, and it was 8 months in the doing, and I will never write another book in my life. But I have an Amazon bestseller now, so I'm excited. Nice. So that was it was a lot of fun.
Well, David, couldn't you actually put all that into a video?
You know what? I should have, damn it. Where were you at the time when I was putting ink to paper?
Yeah,
I could have just thought of that. I could have done a quick Facebook Live explaining it all and said bye.
Well, that's very cool. And it's very, very, obviously it's value to so many people to be able to find out how to do these things and kind of steer against probably what we were just talking about, give some quality back and be able to guide people of how to actually execute this art form, because I mean, you're in a position to be able to give guidance, and there's certainly a lot of guidance needed.
And if anybody feels inspired after the show, I'd recommend go back and listen to our interview with Mark Schaefer about Known. And I think the personal branding and the live video and your setups there kind of tie in perfectly together. So
absolutely.
I'm gonna have to journey out there one time. You guys, I'm assuming you guys go to the content marketing world. Or do you not? Okay, well, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, but I love Mark's books.
Yeah, we won Best Podcast this year by Content Marketing World.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay. But we're not going to be able to make it out there this year. But we did win Best Podcast this year, so
it's mic drop.
Don't show up kind of
thing. We don't need to be there.
On the show if you not won that award. So,
David, we would love to have you come back again and unpack some more about videos.
Anytime.
There's so much in this, and we're not doing the entire discussion really justice. Again, we implore all of our watchers and listeners to be able to share this, because it is really good information. David's got a great book out there, and he's certainly one of those influencers that are giving back And there's far and few between of the people that are actually in this space that actually want to help bootstrap professionals as they're going down their career path,
especially in the video industry.
You better believe it. So, just briefly before we bounce, what excites you about your industry right now, Dave?
Just how every year it's getting better and better. I'm seeing all these big brands that I started with, Rode Microphones, Manfrotto, Sennheiser, all these big brands that the pros used for many years, really embracing mobile video and creating great products for it. So people are able to do better and better with their stuff,
Very cool.
Yeah.
So lastly, we got a fun fact for all of our listeners and all of our viewers. Hey, this is what's really cool is that Dave was actually an actor and worked with Jon Voight, Edward Norton, as well as many others. His movies, participation in the movies include Rocky V, American History X, which still creeps me out. That's a tough movie to watch.
Very tough movie.
Especially the concrete curb scene.
Yes, yes.
Out for Justice and TV shows like Cheers, Mad About You, and News Radio. News Radio, man, that was a blast. I bet that was fantastic. That had a short run, but that was an awesome show.
Did about 3 episodes. Stephen Root was just such a kick in the pants to hang around with, and that was a lot of fun.
Very cool, very cool. So, last thing, what can you say to those aspiring videographers that are out there? And you certainly got the gear for it. Obviously, we always recommend our guests and what they're providing, but you have a great startup package for getting in there. But what would you give as guidance to those aspiring videographers?
There's a great shot list thing that's called the Shooting Gallery. If you have a chance, take a look. The Shooting Gallery, and the guy's name's John Carippo. I'll give him some shout out to him. He created this thing that I used to steal from and use with my students that taught you 18 different shots from over the shoulder, wide shot, close up, voyeuristic shots, etc. And if you go through there and learn these basic shots, because you're going to find these shots almost in every movie you see or television show. So once you learn how these shots go, and it'll start helping you to tell stories better, not shooting some blank wall or things like that. One of the biggest pet peeves of my wife, who's a production designer on shows like Dexter and stuff like that.
Nice.
She, people that shoot videos yet have their water bottle right there, things like that. So
continuity,
continuity, and just really tell a good story,
Yep.
Very cool. Check out everything. Hey, we're going to keep the comments open for this show. We're going to be monitoring the comments from this particular live show. So everybody jump on board. In fact, I think what we can do is even arm us with maybe a follow-up question, a series of videos with David, or at least one, to be able to pull some of the questions from our audience and give you a lightning round here. But we want to be respectful for time. We're already over time. David, thank you so much for jumping on board here. You want to check out iOgrapher with the Twitter handle iOgrapher, Facebook iOgrapher, LinkedIn David Basulto, that's Basulto. Instagram is iOgrapher. Good branding across the board there. Check him out. Follow him. He's given some great information on how to start and how to continue in this low threshold, high quality realm of videography. I mean, it's all about the consumers and when they can actually see what they want to see before they even get to read, right?
Absolutely. That's fair. That's the truth right there.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for your time today, David, and thanks for listening to Edge of the Web Radio. Special thank you to my colleagues at Site Strategics, as well as our producer Jim Champer, as well as AJ Ablog, who jumped on board with it. We do a lot of good work with him on a regular basis, and we always appreciate in-studio guests on Edge of the Web. Make sure you check out all the must-see videos. We love videos, right? This is the show today. All the must-see insider information at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. We'll talk to you next week. Do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. Bye-bye.